Hello, everybody, and welcome to the first installation of my new podcast, Meaningful to Me. This podcast is going to be centered around stories describing my appreciation for little items in my life that really hold a ton of meaning for me. And I hope that telling you these stories can give you a quick few minutes of enjoyment while also possibly teaching you something throughout the process. So, with that out of the way, today's topic is going to be Thor and his legendary hammer, Mjolnir. To give you some background about Thor and Mjolnir, they are depicted in Norse mythology, and Mjolnir is described as one of the most fearsome and powerful weapons in existence, capable of leveling mountains. And if that description doesn't give you any idea as to why it means so much to me, I don't know what will. And to be able to wield such a powerful weapon, you have to be as powerful as the god of thunder, Thor. So now that you know who Thor is and what Mjolnir is, let me get into why it means so much to me. So I had never seen Thor and I had never seen Mjolnir before, but on a plane ride in the beginning of my senior year of high school, I watched The Avengers. This was the first Marvel movie I had ever seen, and I was hooked right away due to the presence of Thor. Thor was drawn into my life with an entrance that I had never seen before, with him landing on a moving jet in the classic superhero pose, and from that moment, I was so drawn in, and the appreciation for Thor just built upon itself over the next year and a half of me watching these movies. And with Thor in my life, I began this appreciation for him that helped shape how I carried myself in my day-to-day life. And this started with the purchasing of my chain. I have this chain that depicts Mjolnir, and it's no bigger than probably 2 inches and weighs no more than half a pound, but the weight that it holds in my heart is something significant. And this is just due to the appreciation that I built for Thor from watching all of his movies. And it really stemmed from the virtues I saw within his character. Thor was given a character arc that was so intriguing to watch and so easy for me to analyze. And it started by me seeing these 3 main virtues in Thor. And those virtues are confidence, worthiness, and strength. And once I began to recognize these 3 virtues, I began to recognize how much they meant to me and how much I really wanted to use these virtues to better myself. And once I bought this chain, it became more than just a cool hammer to me, because this chain began to hold these values every time I looked at it. And with confidence, I really have always thought since I was a kid that there was no way that you can carry yourself in life without having the utmost confidence in yourself and expect to perform at your highest level. Whether this came in sports for me or performing on stage, I always wanted to believe in myself more than I possibly ever thought I could, and my chain and Thor really helped me figure this out, because Thor is just such a confident character and somebody who fought with such confidence and somebody whose words carried so much confidence in them. And seeing all of these, it really, really brought light to that. And I really appreciate my hammer for enforcing this idea of confidence in me each and every day. And it's only one of the 3 virtues that have, in my opinion, bettered myself. And another one of these is worthiness. And in terms of Mjolnir, worthiness has a different meaning than in other situations. But with Mjolnir, it carries a special enchantment that requires the user to be worthy of picking it up and to use such a powerful weapon. And in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the only person who's able to pick up the hammer is Thor. And watching this and having this explained to me at first was just another movie device to make something significant to me. But as I further watch these movies and as I further develop my love for Thor, this worthiness, this virtue, I looked at it in my own terms And I thought, how can I apply this in my own life? And I've always been taught that being kind and sharing a smile can just help brighten someone else's day. And I really think that kindness in a person can be signified like the worthiness for Thor in picking up this hammer. And I've always, since I've made this connection, I've always just carried myself thinking, I gotta keep myself worthy of wearing my necklace. I gotta keep myself worthy of wearing this chain. And I do that just by every time I take down a look at it, I just gotta remind myself to continue being kind and to continue my own version of worthiness. And Thor has done that for me with just his amazing character and his amazing worthiness that he keeps so he can not wear, that's my case, so he can use his hammer. And the last bit of virtues that I found in Thor that I like to carry in my hammer is strength. And this was another case where I adapted it in my own form, because sadly I am not the god of thunder. So the personal strength that I see in Thor and his ability to take down enemies and take down villains, I was able to think about how I've had to go through some significant moments in my life, facing turmoil, and I look down at my hammer whenever I've been in a tough spot, and it's just a good reminder to me to keep carrying on, and it's a good reminder to me just to fight, because I know that Thor would. And it sounds a bit cliche, but it's another thing where I think, what would Thor do? And it is something that in my daily life helps me get through difficult situations. So now that I've described to you the three main virtues and main values of Thor that I try to signify in my life, I feel I have finished this podcast. And I thank you for tuning in and for listening to my first podcast. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Goodbye.